I would like to talk about the sustainability challenge. IFM, which is my company, actually, the company I work with. IFM is not a specialist at the moment, but we are extremely interested, and that's one of the major reasons why we joined TCBL, to go deeper into these issues and to start doing things, actually. And we believe sustainability at large is something that has to be addressed in the innovation side of company strategies. So first I would like to start with something that can appear like some good news coming from Nielsen Company. They just discovered that the issue was increasingly important, and that confirms what several speakers have said already regarding that it is increasingly interesting for people at least in the fast-moving consumer goods. And they say that even 66% of consumers are really inclined to be motivated by that kind of issues. However, and even that's one thing which is important, is that in our countries, which are mature markets, the issue is less important than in less rich countries. You can say, for example, in Europe, the percentage of people, it's a bit different percentage than what was seen before, but anyway, it's already a very high percentage. And if you compare it with facts, it's really, sometimes you can say it's wishful thinking. But however, the thing is that Europe is very low in percentage in comparison with Asia Pacific and Latin America. So it seems that those emerging economies, they have taken for granted the fact that we are already in a world which is in danger, and that our consumers have not yet done the same. And willing to pay more, but the growth is important, and plus 11 percentage points, that's something which is quite positive. But here again, we're in the fast-moving consumer goods in general. In the fashion world, we can say that the awareness is also rising, and there is a short history of what's happened in this world with the different steps that it's gone through. Including, of course, the catastrophe of the Rana Plaza in Bangladesh, who certainly was sent a very big signal, a very loud signal to the whole world regarding the danger of this clothing industry. And there is a growing attraction among consumers to products, because the consumers are increasingly willing to find sense and to believe in things. We are, from a very general point of view, we are in a world where a lot of beliefs, a lot of ideologies, a lot of religions have lost their power. And people have lost the bearings that they had. And everything which makes sense, everything which can give a piece of good identity to them is something that they are craving for. So this is something which has to be considered as a positive appeal for us in sustainability, because sustainability is something which is very sensible and very meaningful. So there is this mounting sensitivity from consumers. However, we have to say that there is a kind of difficulty to make consumers' attitudes and not attitudes, but consumer behavior change. A lot of them say and have always said that they are willing to pay more, but very, very few do so. Of course, they probably sometimes don't have the choice, and they don't have the information between what is good and what is socially and sustainably conscious and what is not. But still, even if they have the choice, a lot of people are so dire in their budgets that they don't even think about it, and it's a big majority of people. So fashion consumption is growing, but it's not mostly because of the consumer. And I'm conscious that it's challenging and that will be open to discussion. There is something which is above this reluctance to pay more. There is another notion that we found out in our surveys in the IFM. It's that there is a kind of opposition between the idea of fashion, which is supposedly superfluous, pleasure and everything, and the idea of sustainability, which is sort of hard duty. And it's a bit oxymoronic, so for people it's difficult to grasp the two notions and put them together. And there is also another factor, which is that since the recession, but even it was looming before, you can say that consumers have grown a strong distrust towards companies, and that they want more transparency, they want more things, but at the moment they don't trust what many companies told them. Just from France, some observations which are a bit worrying. There is a kind of radicalization of the behaviors, which means that those people, and it's mostly women and increasingly young people, which is a very good news, increasingly the people who are concerned with sustainability issues are increasingly concerned. But there are a lot of people who just don't care, and they increasingly don't care, if I can say. So it's not a spreading movement, softly doing so. It's something which is either you're interested or you're not. And that's quite a problem, because we have to bring this awareness to from many more people. Decreasing sensitivity among men and growing sensitivity among women and youth. The point which is attracting most attention is the point of social issue, the social quality of manufacturing places, because I think mostly it has an impact and is seen for its impact on the unemployment and on the local good situation. Just one point, what people want to see on a label, it's a research, last year research, people to illustrate the fact that people are really conscious about the social issues. They want to know about the raw material origin, but also the place of manufacturing, impact on biodiversity, price breakdown in supply chain, and impact on employment. So everything is growing in this respect. Businesses, brands, institutions have to do their jobs, because what I'm saying is that you can't count on consumers to boycott things or to really ask companies or institutions to do more regarding sustainability. There is a new feeling of emergency which was raised in the USA after Trump decided to withdraw from the Paris Agreement. An industry response, as you can see in the business of fashion, for example, it's quite strong, and it is an international movement. So it's a very good, it provides a good opportunity. Everything what Trump is doing seems to be good for Europe, because it obliges us to wake up and do our duty and our jobs. There is also the fact that the carbon emissions are expected to increase by more than 60%, as was said. And but there is also a factor which is a reaction to this Trump attitude, which is that the international brands are really, and this word really is something which is, of course, provocative and a bit of a challenging issue. They are really doing things regarding sustainability, and they have written and published commitments to strengthen this involvement. and I'm mentioning people like Nike, Levi's, Gap, Alan Fisher, the CFDA Association in the US, but there are also many other initiatives which are interesting. I would like to mention a meeting and a survey that was done last year, or even this year actually. It was a survey made by the Boston Consulting Group and the Global Fashion Agenda. Difficult to tell, and I couldn't swear it, that it's totally free-thinking and objective, because a lot of brands are involved. But it's not a brand lobby anyway. Well, to make a long story short, this is a survey to try and analyze how companies feel and how companies act in the realm of sustainability. So it's a big study. 20,000 businesses have been interviewed by mail, and also direct interviews with 90 senior managers responsible for sustainability issues in companies. That's not nothing. And the idea was that there is a measurement which is called the Higg measurement, which covers a lot of issues in sustainability, and the companies were graded in these different ranges. So you can see the poor ones, the bad guys, they will tend to have a grade in the 20s or 30 areas, and the very good guys, if there were any, would go for the 90 and 100. So the health, it's called the health, the pulse of fashion in 2017. The health of the overall industry, of the fashion industry, is not very high. It's 32 out of 100. But there are big discrepancies between families. That was the picture of the summit in Copenhagen. Just to say that the sample was fairly international, with big companies, small companies, mid-markets, discount, everything. So you can see that with this average of 32, those companies are fairly good guys. The luxury markets, especially the luxury big players, and you just have to think of Kering, who's really doing a lot of work in this respect, with commitments and with publishing data about their failures and about what they've succeeded and about their plans for the future. And the sustainability champions being the very good ones, like, for example, Stella McCartney and so on. You can see also that the SMEs, very small or mid-sized SMEs, are not the good guys. They have a hard time, and we'll see why. Middle mainstream fashion is a little bit better, but hardly. And sportswear, if you think of people like Adidas, they do a good job in this respect, and they are really the best in terms of numbers, sheer numbers. And to finish with the fashion industry, you can say that the fast fashion, even the quite low price industry, is also ranking quite high in this measurement system. So the clear driver of sustainability is company size, not price positioning. It's a very difficult issue, as was said by many speakers before, for an SME or a very small company to be clearly active in these sustainability things, because the environment does not facilitate the things. So there was one question which was raised by, well, these are two illustrations. One is the Kering program that you can find on the internet, which is extremely interesting, and also the impact report by H&M Foundation. The question was asked to the senior managers of these in this research: in your view, which barriers exist today hindering your company from becoming more sustainable environmentally, socially and ethically? And the percentage of the top 3 rankings was like that. So a lot of question, a lot of answers. Low consumer willingness to pay premium, missing regulations, brands focusing on self-optimizations rather than collaboration, lack of consumer awareness. I read it because I'm not sure you can read it. It might be small over there. Short-termism, missing technological innovation, insufficient company resources, etc. It's decreasing importance. What is important to notice is that 3 items are due to the consumer. It's based on consumer, not unwillingness, but lack of appetite. Lack of consumer awareness, first, and consumers skeptical about sustainable product, and of course, low consumer propensity to pay more. And another thing is also extremely interesting, it's that, and it particularly applies to SMEs, it's that the brands focusing on self-optimization rather than collaboration. Do you think that guys like H&M or like Kering or the others, they need collaboration? No, it's the SMEs who do. And the other thing is silo thinking across business units or geographies. And industry associations and other initiatives not promoting collaboration. So clearly there is a call from these SME guys that they need collaborations, they need to be helped to cooperate between themselves. And in my mind, there are 2 major levers to promote sustainability. It's work and consumer sensitization, information, educate the consumer, and also sensitize SMEs and help them create networks. And of course, that's exactly what TCBL does, and I think that's very important that we go on doing so.